Hey there everyone, this is Jeremy, the Music Andy, here today to talk about My Dream Fever, Rough and Beautiful Place. My Dream Fever, or better known as Paranormal, comes in a disguised mask with this neoclassical ambient piece. This is the first album under the new name for the South Korean band, and it is welcoming us with a warm, vibrant, sunny album cover. Super excited just by looking at the album cover because I am used to this cold, dark, Michigan winter environment. I am also used to hearing the band only in about like shoegaze, post-rock, emo music. So this new ambient neoclassical approach is something that I definitely want to listen to. Starting off the album, we have the lead track Sprout, which is full of nature noises and paired along with an elegant piano. The piano is delicate and really affects how you perceive the environment that it's in. The noises of cicadas feel to harmonize with the piano as more and more notes start to fill the air. The moments of glitches, lags, and reverse reverb really start to build down the natural walls that were so far built around me, adding a bit of chaos to an otherwise alluring soundscape. Slowly, more and more instruments start to find their way into the mix. The drums start to tap their way in, such as a friend would after you invited them over to your house. Strings, horns, and natural noises coexist in this musical atmosphere that the lead piano lives in. Piano keys begin to be struck more and more heavy-handed, adding a lot of emotion, kind of adding splashes over this environment. The air settles and whispers begin to start pulling your ear into a different direction. It reminds me of being a kid and walking in the forest or the woods and thinking that somebody was always calling your name. You know, you look around and all that are around you are trees, there's nothing calling it. So the way that it is approached with these whispers, they're very, very silent, and it does the same exact thing. It always felt like the forest was teasing me and the trees were teasing me just by whispering my name so that I would look. The ending of the track really sends you into a dizzying frenzy, with drums pattering across the floor, the lead piano climbing up and down its scale, strings pushing inwards, and fast strum guitars really starting to put this to a boiling point. But however, this track does not boil over, and it sprouts just as the name would imply that it does. The keys dance away with bells cheering them on, and this is a fantastic start to the album. It is so alive and it is so vivid. Written in 6/8, Moment Is Now comes in for a brief drop-in. And when I say brief drop-in, it may be a 4-minute song, but that is the equivalent of a blink of an eye in ambient and classical music. During this blink, we have a fairly simple progressive piano, getting more and more emphasized by heavier and heavier strikes, adding a lot of emotion to the track. Again, we have soaring strings and the nature noises surrounding these keys as well. Nothing is too crazy here as far as impressing me, but it really doesn't take away anything either. It's a nice little stop in the journey that we have had so far. Circulation begins at a much slower pace, just like the other songs. However, this time there is a wide array of instruments at the disposal of the musicians. Each one of these instruments has a very personal touch and a very unique tone to them. Not only being unique in tone, the tones really start to evolve and add an amazing contrast from each other. The ringing bell / gong kind of adds a hypnotizing effect, keeping your mind from wandering too much on this track. Droning synths have an interesting way of floating in and out of the song, not really having any rhyme or reason for coming in and out, keeping the balance off from the listener. Soon we have tribal chantings coming to the forefront of this song, and that's when the floor begins to crumble completely on this track. There doesn't seem to be a place for any of the instruments that are being played right now, however it is definitely welcomed. Despite the instruments and vocals being very demanding in attention, it still had a very tranquil effect on me, and it was a very peaceful song altogether. Spirit of Love, the next track, brings back the nature noises and the elegant piano we know so well. Right off the bat, we have a melody pulling us closer and closer until we can see eye to eye with it. Battling pianos, weeping strings, the room starts to spin around me completely, and not just lightly. This array of instruments are attacking viciously. This quickly transitions into a almost polka style of music with very interesting tones bleeding out of it. The bongos introduced on this are phenomenal, and there is no better rhythm section choice for this track. With a repetitive but impressive lead performance from the piano, the song slowly slows down into nothingness, completely seeping out all the momentum from it. The track ends with every single instrument coming back together and putting on a dazzling performance. It really moves like a play. The way that these musicians are able to transcribe their feelings through their instruments, it's so beautiful and so enjoyable at the same time. Ether is the ambient track on this, focusing more on relaxation with droning synths and the signature piano. Field recordings of childlike experiences, damn cicadas, and euphoric synths really had me locked into this one. Droplets of water splashing into a larger pond kind of created a cave-like environment around me. I feel extremely enclosed at this moment. The piano begins to unravel. It almost feels like the keys are playing themselves at this point. Soon the band starts using off notes to create a much more darker theme and feel to this song. However, soon these dark notes are quickly transcribed back to the light notes that they previously were, and it feels like I have left the cave that I was once led into. Last but not least, we have the self-titled track, Rough and Beautiful Place, and this song is named perfectly. This is the peak of the album. This is what the entire journey was for, was to listen to this moment. The album, despite peaking at this, was never really a patient listen. Everything was always being rewarded otherwise, but we're getting a reward at the end of it anyways. This is an incredibly busy classical song with an interesting twist on all of the instrumentation. Nothing in this track feels out of place, and me sitting here trying to describe each instrument is not going to do it justice. I love this, 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 I love this. This is how you start off a new year, with a fantastic album that is super enjoyable to listen to and never felt like a chore. This is an easy rate for me of 8.8 Breath of the Wild OSTs out of 10. I had to mention Breath of the Wild somewhere in this song, so I'm doing it right at the end of it. I am not saying the soundtrack to Breath of the Wild is better than this album at all. Please let me know what you thought of this album. Please let me know what albums you would like me to review in the future. Subscribe if you like the content, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.